right, so now that you guys know a little bit more about James Rizzi's style and how he likes to make his artwork, we're actually going to create a cityscape in his style. So we're gonna do things like put faces on our buildings and make them full of special details like windows and doors. Now when we get started doing this, we have to locate some materials, preferably a blank piece of paper. I have the directions right here, as you can see, but you should also be able to download and print them if you want to. I'm going to show you in a Sharpie because he uses thick black outlines in his work, but if you have a pencil, that's fine. If you want to trace your pencil with a marker or a black crayon or something like that, you can do that as well. And then some stuff to color with. So I had found some stuff around my house. You could color with crayons. My favorite is markers because I think they look the most like paint. Or if you had colored pencils at home, you could use those to color with. So you decide what you want to color with. Now, when you get started drawing, you are going to start with a row of buildings going across the front of your picture. So these buildings are going to go all the way to the bottom, and they go starting from the side. So I'm just going to draw a horizontal line and then a vertical one, and that makes a building. And then maybe my next building's a little bit taller, and it's a little skinnier. It goes down. Then maybe I'll have a really short building here. It's kind of long, and it goes down. All right, so we're just using our vertical lines and our horizontal lines to do this. And then maybe over here I'll make a nice tall one. All right, so that's our first job. Then we're going to draw some buildings in the background. The first row of buildings is in the front. We call that the foreground, but then the second row is going to be the background. So these buildings are going to either be maybe a little taller than that first row of buildings, or they might even go behind the first row of buildings a little bit. We call that overlapping. So you decide how you want those to look, and then add those in. And maybe one more, I'll do one more right here that goes all the way across. All right, so now I have 2 rows of buildings. So now on the third step, I am going to draw the tops of the buildings using different kinds of shapes. So I might choose to do one where I use a rectangle shape, or maybe I put another square on top of it. I could do a series of triangles like this, 3 in a row. I could do a semicircle. I could even divide it up. I could do it almost like pizza slices, or I could do one maybe where it is stripes like that. Some of these buildings, it's kind of hard to do something above it if it's got a line already there, but I could make some squares on top of this one, and kind of in between those lines. Up here, maybe I'll do kind of a nice triangle shape. Ooh, I think I'll use that triangle again over here. I like that triangle. It's like a cone top for a building. I can also put little like building antennas on some of them if I want, like that. Now, once you've done the tops of the buildings, you're going to draw some faces. And on that handout I have with the direction, I gave some face examples. They're cartoon faces, so fairly simple. You could use your shapes again. For example, on this building here, I can make some diamond-shaped eyes. Maybe I'll put the little pupils of the eyes down there. I could add some eyelashes even if I wanted to. Give it a little nose. I could do just a smile for the mouth if I want with a line, or maybe I'll add some lips on. I could do a real simple face with just a couple of little squares and maybe like a rectangle with a dot for a nose. Put a little dot for each eye there too. So you can give each of your buildings a face, and you can make each face different, or you could use the same face more than one time if you wanted. I'm going to give this one some eyebrows. And I'm going to give him a triangle nose. And then he's going to have a big happy smile on his face with a couple of teeth. Now, once you've done these faces, you are going to add some windows and doors. So you might want to make sure you leave a little bit of space. Don't make the face too big. I think on this one up here with the triangles, I am going to do it kind of like a cat. Sometimes he puts animal faces in his buildings too. So I'm going to give it some whiskers. Let's see. I'm going to do a silly face here. Make the googly eyes, and then maybe this one will have his tongue sticking out. Give him a little circle nose. Let's see. If I look back over here, oh, I like that one with its eyes closed, like he's kind of squinting. And it looks like he kind of has like a little pig nose. Do one that looks like a pumpkin face. Let's see. All right, got a couple more over here to do faces on. Oh, I'll do one that has glasses. So to connect them like that. Make him his glasses. Give him a nose. Just a line for the mouth. And then this last one, I'm going to go super simple. Give him a nice little surprise face like that. And then this one back here. Maybe the eyes are closed. Maybe this building is sleeping. Okay, so now I've got my faces on my buildings, and now I'm ready for step number 5, where I'm going to draw windows and doors. And again, there are some examples here. You can obviously use your shapes. I like to start with a door for each building that I can see in the front. Maybe I'll make a nice tall arched door for this one. I'm going to give this one a bunch of doors. This one's going to have a door with a window and a doorknob. And then this one, I'm going to do one of those panel doors, kind of like the ones I have in my house. I have these doors with these panels. Look like that. Alright, so now I've got some doors there in the front. So now I'm going to add some windows in. And again, you can use lots of different shapes. You could have circle windows. And they're usually in a row. So this has a row of 3. And then I do the next row of 3. That's kind of how we see windows on buildings. Maybe this one has just some big windows like that with crossbars. I don't have a lot of room for windows in this one, but I think I could put a little one on each side. And he does do some interesting shapes for his windows too. So I could put some heart windows in. I could also do some star-shaped windows if I wanted to. So you decide, but try and add maybe a couple windows to each building. You might not have a lot of room on some of these buildings in the back, but usually you can still fit a couple in. And do those arch windows on this one. Let's see. I'll do a oval window here. And then I think just that building left there. I'm going to do rectangle windows with a line in the middle that shows that they open and close. Alright, so now I've got my doors and windows. So now I'm going to draw the sky. And one of the things that James Rizzi always did in his work was he put a lot of details into the sky. So I gave you some examples here. He also puts birds, airplanes, UFOs even in his sky if you wanted to include some of those things. Sometimes his sky has a sun and a moon in it. He'll do it like half daytime, half nighttime. So it's up to you. I'm going to start with a big sun right here because I have a nice space for that. And you could certainly put a face on the sun or the moon, just like you put faces on the buildings. Here, I'll give them. Make my sun look surprised. And then I'm going to put some clouds in. And see however much I can fit in here. So I'm just going to start with a few clouds here and there. I might make one go behind the building in a couple of spots. And then you can also do shapes and lines. He includes those as well. So he does a lot of these like loopy lines. You can put some loopy lines in. You could also do wavy lines, and then it kind of looks like it's windy, or swirls. You could do little circles, then it kind of looks like stars. But you really want to just fill everything up as much as you can. Alright, so I'm going to finish up with some of these little circles. You can certainly draw a bird in. He likes to include birds as well. Alright, so there, now I have my nice busy sky. So once I'm done drawing the sky, the last part is to color my picture. For coloring, like I said, you can choose what you have at your house to color with. Just a reminder though, we want to try and do our 3-star coloring. So we want to try and make sure we're coloring inside the lines and that we're filling the whole space and not leaving white parts. As far as choosing the right colors, one of the things about James Rizzi's work is it's very colorful and it's imaginary. So you don't have to use realistic colors when you do this. A lot of times he does use blue in his sky, but it doesn't have to be. But his buildings come in all sorts of colors. So I could decide that I want to make one of my buildings yellow. And then I would go and I'd probably color the big part of the building first, and then maybe use other colors to color the doors and windows so that they stand out. I'm just trying my best right now to stay inside the lines. Color the whole space. It helps when you color with the side of the marker rather than the tip. The tip tends to dry out really fast on a marker, but when you color with the side of something, it just usually leaves a little bit more color. I probably wouldn't use the side of a marker though when I color things like the face, because I think that's probably too small. So then I would switch and use the tip of the marker. So once you've got your coloring done, you're finished, and you know from his examples that they're very colorful, and usually the only things that might be left white are things like the clouds that are supposed to be white, or maybe the eyes, the whites of the eyes. But generally he colors the whole picture. So you guys can work on that at your own time, and if you don't end up finishing coloring it, that's okay. If you don't have things to color with, that's okay. If you just leave it as a drawing, that's fine too. You could always take a picture of it and even potentially color it on a device if you have a device at home. So good luck. Remember to try your best. That's all we can do, is try our best and see if you can't follow these steps to make your James Rizzi cityscape. Have fun.